Good morning, everybody. Hey, how's it doing? Cool. I'm glad I'm here. Hey, Hadassah, I see you in the chat. I can't believe it's 2021 too. It's 2021 as well. Yeah, it's so weird to say that. It feels like we're in the future. Obviously we're in the future, but it feels like very futuristic sounding to say that the year is 2021. Um, so weird. Hey, Isabella. Hey, everybody else who's sometimes in the chat. I know Kevin and Colin. I know sometimes you guys are watching, except you don't usually join the chat because you're watching like on the TV. So hello to everybody else that's not on the TV, or is that everybody else that's not going to be in the chat? Hi everybody that's in the chat. Hey Mo, happy 2021. It's exciting. It's a new year. Do you guys feel like it's different and exciting, or do you feel like it's just another day and it's just like this is just how time passes? And if you're going to celebrate a new year, you could technically celebrate a new day or a new month, which I know my family does too. We definitely say happy new month every month. So there's that. But I think it's fun to celebrate it and just make it seem a little bit special just for the sake of making it special. All right, let's see. We got for our class today, it's a special New Year's episode, which I'm very excited about. Just to start off the year kind of like on a positive note and trying to think of what we want for the year. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. It doesn't mean that we're going to be stuck to it and we can't change our minds. It's just kind of nice to think sometimes of what you would like to happen in the year. Because sometimes we have, a lot of the times, we have choices that we can affect our lives. And if we don't actually know what we want, a lot of the times we can't get it because we don't know what we want. I've heard the saying where it's like, if you shoot bow and arrow and you aim at nothing, you'll probably hit it, which means that if you don't know what you're shooting for, you're probably not going to hit anything. You love celebrating, especially this year. I know, especially this year. Which is funny because a lot of things are still the same. Ooh, what's a Redbubble shop, Isabella? Tell us in the chat. Let us know. Yeah, yeah. I think this year. I mean, it's. I think it'll be a good way to like turn a new leaf for a lot of people, and everybody's excited to move forwards. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just saying our good mornings. We're going to do art review in a second. Then we have our quote of the day, which kind of gets us inspired. And then we have our morning mindfulness that gets us in the right headspace to draw, which is so important. Just so that if we're thinking about other things going on in our lives, we can address that and then put that into our art. We're not going to ignore it. We're actually going to use it to inspire and influence our art, which is what art should be used for. Then we have our one art activity. Then we take our karate break, and then we do our second art activity. And this is all part of today's morning game plan. So this is what we do each class. I just like to run through it for anybody that's new and hasn't joined in yet. Then I give you guys your challenge of the day. We check the morning mailbox to see if there's any morning mail, like letters from you guys. And then we say our goodbyes. All right. So last week for our art review, we did our special Christmas episode. It was the Midnight in Paris with Camille. She was my French illustrator friend from Versailles, France. And she actually live streamed us straight from France to do some plein air painting, which is when you paint outside in the open air. It's a French term that means, painting out in the open. So when you see people with their easels like Camille had, and they're just painting with their small like paintbrush kit, that's where you can, that's how like a lot of artists learn to study, is by painting from life. And so plein air painting became really popular. Let's see, Isabella. Redbubble is a website where artists upload their designs and, oops, that's weird. Where artists upload their designs and Redbubble puts them on all kinds of products that people can buy. Oh, that's so cool, Isabella. Can you send us your link? Did you start it up already? I want to buy some of your stuff. That's so awesome. If you guys want to send in your art at any point, you can send it to me via Gmail at noahfontana@gmail.com or via Instagram at teacher.noah. Make sure you include the dot in the teacher.noah, otherwise it won't get to me. All right, so our quote of the day comes from Frida Kahlo, which you might have probably will recognize her from this one all the way on the right side with the green, the color one. But this is her when she was a little kid. This is her when she was like a teenager and then a young woman. And her real name was Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderon, and was a Mexican painter known for many self portraits and use of the naive folk art style to explore questions of identity, gender, class, and race in the Mexican society. And the naive folk art style means that she was not classically trained. And so her style, and you could use this even if you are classically trained, but the style is usually where you um, lack your art lacks some of the other elements that you would learn in school. So like kind of like perspective, like a lot of her drawings don't have a lot of like depth perspective, so they don't. It's kind of like just like almost like collaged on top, as you could see in that picture that she painted. Um, and guys, do you hear Slider in the background? I think he wants to say hi. Should we go say hi to Slider? We'll pause for a second. Hold on. Guys, he's gotten so big. Let me change to a full-size screen. There we go. Okay. Look at how big he's gotten. Oh my goodness. Say hi, Slider. Hello. Yeah. He's not even shy anymore. He just goes for it now. Anyway, I'm gonna let him walk around. Hopefully, he doesn't do anything too crazy while I'm doing that. Oh, and Cindy's favorite. Cool. Oh, thank you, Isabella, for your Redbubble link. And yeah, Slider says hi. Everybody says hi, Slider. Isabella says hi. Dasta says hi. Yes, he's gotten so big. He's going to keep on growing. So I'm actually in the process of figuring out an outdoor kind of playpen area with him. So that way he could just stay in his tank at night. And then during the day, he could be outside being able to grow and expand. Because he always loves to be outside of my apartment right now. But sometimes I can't let him be. Yeah, he's so big. Anyway, so Frida Kahlo, right? Frida Kahlo. Let's see. Her naive folk art style was when you kind of are doing it without a lot of like the techniques. Um, yes, Slider is, I believe, I thought he was the second largest, but my buddy corrected me. And he said he's actually the second largest, the third largest. So the third largest tortoise in the world. He's a sulcata desert tortoise, and he will get big enough that I can ride him one day. So I'm hoping that I don't have to get a wheelchair, and I can just use him when I'm old and frail and can't walk anymore. And he'll live for 60 to 70 years. So he's going to get pretty big. But it's kind of cool because I know some people, or I've heard stories of people where they have it and they just let it roam around their apartments or their house, because they don't really do much other than, as long as they have food to eat, they're not really that, they don't really do too much that would make them a noisy, or like, I'm thinking reckless, but that's not the right word, a nuisance, I guess. Yeah, the zoo, yeah. Yeah, he's gonna get really big. I learned that like as I was buying him. The pet store owner told me that, and I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. Yeah, so maybe my grandkids will have Slider too, and when they're passing it on, they have their own YouTube, or probably won't even be YouTube. It'll be a different channel. You guys can watch Slider being big, or maybe I'll just like roll into the morning cartooning riding on Slider one of these days. Um, right now he's big enough that if I put him on the grass, he likes to. Oh, your grandpa did have one in the back here. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. How did I not know that? He likes this game where you push him, and so if I put him on the ground and I push him, and especially if he's on the grass or like something where he has good grip, he'll push you back and he'll like pause and then like charge you, which is really fun. Because then we can kind of play that game together. Okay. Yeah, he's gotten pretty fun actually. So Frida Kahlo, she would use um, her self portraits that she would draw, and she would use a lot of symbolism, which I feel like artists these days don't actually do a lot of, which is why I wanted to pick her. Also, she was a total like um, I would I'm trying to think of a word, but I don't want to say it for a kid show. But she was a real cool person, um, and if you could write, would it shall be able to support a person's weight? Um, Maybe not, depending on how much I weigh. But honestly, like he's super strong right now because he's always like whenever he's standing, he's always supporting his weight. So it's like he's almost always doing like deadlifts or like bench presses. So yeah, I think he could. I think he could definitely a kid for sure. Like a little kid that weighs like 50 pounds or something like that. He could easily support that. I'm not right now, but when he gets older, because they're just used to supporting their whole weight. Because he's really heavy right now. I haven't weighed him. I forget how much he weighs. I had like a little like food scale, so I weighed him on that. But he was like almost too big to even sit on it. So I'll have to check it out again to see how much he actually weighs. But yeah, he'll definitely be able to support a person. If you Google sulcata tortoises, it's SULCota, I believe. SULCOTA, tortoise. You could see like a bunch of like kids like riding on them, and they're huge. They're bigger than dogs. So it's kind of crazy because he'll look like a huge dinosaur. He already looks like a dinosaur. Um, um, and his shell is super strong. If that's what you were asking, not if his muscles were strong enough, but if his shell, yeah, his shell is like as strong. His shell is actually, if you look up the anatomy of a sulcata tortoise, you could see like a cutaway from his side, and his spine actually runs along the top of the shell. So he doesn't have a rib cage; it's just his shell. So that's just part of his body, and it's like his bones. So kind of like our bones, that they're pretty strong. Um, and did I stay up until midnight on New Year's Eve? I did, but it wasn't to watch the ball drop because all you people on the East Coast were texting me at like 9 p.m. saying Happy New Year's Eve or Happy New Year's. And I was like, it's 9. So even though you're 3 hours ahead, it was only 9 p.m. for me. So it didn't, it's always kind of weird on the West Coast to do celebrate New Year's because when we watch the ball drop, it's, you guys are 3 hours ahead. So we watch it at 9 p.m. And then some people can stay up until midnight. Um, I did, but I was more kind of doing what we're gonna do a little bit in class today, is preparing like what I wanted to do this year. I always like to start off the year with kind of like some kind of game plan for the year, what I want to accomplish. Hadassah, did you stay up until midnight? Um, how many of you actually stayed up until midnight and like did like a whole celebration or anything like that? I'd be interested to hear. Um, Back to Frida though. She said, and she's talking to you, you who's watching this right now. She said, "You deserve the best, the very best, because you are the one of the few people in this lousy world who are honest to themselves, and that is the only thing that really counts. I hope that if you are out there and read this, you know that yes, it's true. I'm here, and I'm just as strange as you." She really wanted people to not feel like they had to be or act a certain way. She kind of she grew up. She had this big unibrow and like kind of a little mustache too, and that's not what everybody looked like at that age or that time, especially not the girls. And she kind of owned it and just let herself be herself even more completely. And you could see in her picture, in a portrait that she did, there's a lot of symbolism in that portrait. So the one with the cat and the monkey, a monkey might it's the same kind of monkey that her husband gave her, but if you look, the monkey is actually pulling on the thorn necklace that she has. Um, and she went through a lot of pain when she was 18 years old. She got hit by a bus, and she like broke so many bones and had to stay in the hospital bed for a long time. And that's actually why she started painting. She always had tried art, being an artist, but had never thought of it as a career until she was stuck in the hospital bed for so many months and had to just sit there, and all she could look at was herself in a mirror. So she painted a lot of self portraits while she was in the hospital bed because that's all she really could do. Um, she ended up getting divorced and then remarried to the same guy, but he gave her this pet monkey. And so maybe that's a symbolism that he caused her a lot of pain and heartache. A lot of the times, a bird is a symbol of freedom, especially like colorful hummingbirds. But if you look at the hummingbird that's on her neck, it's tied to the thorn necklace and it's all black, which could mean that she feels like she was trapped, which would be understandable because for the majority of her life, she had to undergo, I think, like 30 over or around 35 surgeries. Um, she wasn't able to have kids, and it was just a very tough life for her. Um, and she was able to get through it, she said, by her art. And she said that her art helped her because she wasn't able to do so many other things, but she was still able to paint. And that was how she was able to look through all of the struggles that she went through and make something really amazing out of it. And now she's famous for, there's movies made about her. She's famous for her portraits and her unibrow. And it was really cool that she changed it. She took all of the troubles in her life and turned them into something really cool. Okay, let me catch up on the comments. I stayed until midnight, watched Soul. Oh yes, I love Soul. What did you think of Soul, Hadassah? Isabella, wait, if the West Coast is 3 hours behind, when does the new year actually start? That's a good question. Technically, it starts different for everybody. I mean, I have my friends like Camille in France. I believe she's in London. I think it's 8 hours ahead. In France, I think it's 9 hours ahead. So they already had their New Year's way before. They were already on to their next day on their Friday morning by the time we were celebrating our New Year's. So it's actually different. So if you call up people, if you FaceTime people, you could have people saying, it hasn't been New Year's for me yet, or it's already been New Year's for like 8 hours. All right. We spent so much time on Frida. I love it. For our morning mindfulness, as you take a moment to breathe, close your eyes and think back on this past year and all the good and bad times you had. When Frida was young, she was hit by a bus and was stuck in the hospital bed for the majority of her life. She had to have close to 35 surgeries and even then still experienced a lot of pain throughout her life. Frida also attributes being bedridden to reigniting her love of painting. If she hadn't spent so much time, she might not have been given the opportunity to look inwards and paint what she was feeling. As we move on to this next portion of class, I invite you to take this opportunity to look inwards and show how you feel about this past year in your drawings. Okay, so it's important for us to, if we're going to express how we feel, to know how we feel. So take a moment and think about how you feel about this past year. What are your impressions of it? Yes, I agree, Hadassah. Soul is definitely bizarre modern. I think it handled a lot of different concepts, but I think it was good. I think it's a good thing that that they made that movie, because it's important to be like, with all of our goals that we set for ourselves this year, as much as we accomplish. I know Pete Docter, who directed Soul, he directed Monsters Inc., he directed Up. He even said, if you look at pictures, Instagram, I saw this, he posted and he said that he had lived out his dreams and then he still didn't feel any different. Like he wasn't necessarily happier. Like he was obviously happy doing it, working on the projects, but after they ended, it wasn't like he could lie down to go to sleep and feel like, I'm so satisfied, like I don't want anything else in life. You still have that feeling like you want more. And I think that's important to know, is that like while we set up all these goals for the year, they're good to have, but they're not necessarily going to mean that our life had meaning, or that that they're going to completely fulfill us. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do it, and it doesn't mean that they can't bring us happiness, but it just means that keep it in perspective almost. Like enjoy it, but also know that that's not all that life has to offer. Life can offer us so much more than just like a goal and something to check off your list. Okay, so our first thing that we're going to do is self-portraits. We're going to do this real quick because we're out of time. Okay, let me see. This one. This is what we want. Okay, cool. So For our self-portraits, let's see. Oh, hold on a second. This is the wrong slide. 1 second. For our self-portraits, hopefully you guys have a mirror. We can do a little Frida Kahlo thing. And here we go. This is a picture that I took of myself for one of the thumbnails. And we're going to use, instead of using a mirror, that way you guys can see what I'm going off of. I want you guys to see if you can quickly find a mirror or sit someplace where there is a mirror. Or if you could take a picture on your phone and just plop it right down in front of you, do that. And we're going to do a quick self-portrait. And we're going to do it a little bit like Frida. So we're going to try to add in things that represent things that happened this year. Okay? So first off, I want to start off with the sketch, obviously. Let's see. And it doesn't even have to be realistic. So I'm going to... Let's see. Uh-huh. I'm going to make myself like smirking, smiling instead. All right. Nope, that's too big, the eraser. All right. So while I'm sketching this, I'm trying to think of what kind of things that I could put in the background that would be kind of like a metaphor of things that I've gone through this year. And this is going to get pretty personal. And art should be that way, I think. And this is honestly, like, this is how, this is when artists really show their true colors, and this is when artists really start to make breakthroughs, I believe, is when you put yourself into your artwork and you do it in such an open and honest way. Like Frida said, what did she say? You deserve the best, the very best, because you are one of the few people in this lousy world who are honest to themselves, and that is the only thing that really counts. So you need to be able to be honest with yourself before you can even hope to have any kind of honesty in your drawings. Actually, this year, okay, so since it's COVID, this isn't going to be like a crazy symbol, but I think I want to do a portrait of myself with a mask on, because that feels like that was like the majority of this year, was wearing a mask. Good morning, Sarah. We're drawing self-portraits like Frida Kahlo. All right. Let's see. All right. Are there any symbols that you guys have thought of yet? Kind of like how Frida used a bird to symbolize her freedom, but that she felt trapped. That would be a good one, like if you have like a bird in a cage or something, you know? But it has to be, or you'd want it to be relative to you. Ooh, I just thought of a good one. Um, what they also, a lot of people said that Frida was a surrealist, which is, means you paint things that look real, but you paint them, but they obviously aren't real. So like Salvador Dali painted a lot of surrealism where it looked almost like a dream, but it looked very realistic too. So it had like very realistic light and shading too. Um, we can do that as well. But she said that she didn't feel like what she was painting was surrealism. She felt like what she was painting was just her reality, and that's how it felt like to her. Um, so she wasn't trying to paint things that looked real or weren't real. Like she was just painting how she genuinely felt on the inside. Um, so I think for mine, it felt like I was cooped up, not in a cage, but it felt like I was stuck in my home the whole time. My neighbors are listening to some groovy music right now. Can you guys tell what I'm drawing yet? This is like real surrealist. All right. This is funny. Can you guys guess? Or are you just busy drawing your own? I'm curious if this is actually coming across. All right. Um, I'm thinking of what it was like this year. It was felt like I was stuck in my home. You'd think for all the time I spend playing with slider, I would know exactly what a shell looked like, but I still kind of forget. Stuck in your shell. Yes, I turned myself into slider. Um, Kind of like how Frida did with her pets, where she included her pets into it. Um, this just seemed like a natural, and that could be kind of funny if you have a pet too. But there you keep them in a cage. Like if you have a hamster, like maybe you're just like running on your hamster wheel, like in your cage with your hamster in it too. Um, that would be kind of a funny um, funny drawing. I feel like. Okay. There we go. Okay. Just tilt my head a little bit. Actually, I think I like it that way. Okay. Should I make the shell blue too? Your slider's dead, stuck in my shell. Yes. All right. I have an idea too. Watch this. This will be a totally unique thing, never before drawn. I'm pretty sure. Okay. For my shell color, ooh, that's gonna look so cool. Blue shell, definitely. And for this watercolor, I'm using Max's watercolor packet, and this is the Max Watercolor Flow Detail, which is one of my favorite ones to use. Um, okay, let's get that. And I got my blue light glasses on. I got my mask on, very much. And I buzzed my head this year, and now my hair is growing out, but it looks all weird now because it's growing out. So that's why I'm wearing a hat all the time. So I have to include my hat in here, obviously. I think hopefully soon, though, my hair's starting to look more and more normal. Maybe I'll take it off soon. Oh, and I have a black mask too. Do you guys have any funny like looking masks? And by funny I mean like super cool. Um, like Picasso's Blue Period. Oh yeah, exactly. And that's what I was gonna say too. Picasso also painted so many self portraits, and if you look, his original self portraits were very like just like you could tell that he went to school for art, and it wasn't really that impressive because anybody can learn to paint like a realistic picture. Like that just takes practice. But as he got older, he became more and more himself and more honest with his own style. And then that was when he learned how to do like the cubism stuff too. Um, and he was breaking the boundaries of what art looked like. So I'm sure your guys will look a lot different um, the further we go on, and the more you paint. Okay, let's do it. Let's do the underside of the shell will be purple. Like my onesie. And maybe a nice zoom in of my mustache. Maybe I'll actually make these a little bit. There we go. It's looking good, guys. I feel like this is the move right here. All right. I think I'm gonna go over with some ink, and then we'll call it a day because we're just about. My mask has some kind of tall bird on it. I think they're either storks or flamingos or flamingos. That's cool. All right, let's see. What do I want to use? Do I want to use Inca? Yeah, let's use Inca because this year was pretty rough around the edges, and this brush is definitely a rough brush. If you look up close, watch this. See that? Look at that. So cool. So I'm on a different layer too, even when I do that, so that. Even if I mess it up, I can always just delete the layer. My mask has some kind of flamingos. My blue light glasses. There we go. And you can show in your facial expression how you feel about this year. I feel like this year was definitely sad for a lot of reasons, but I think overall I feel peaceful and happy about it. So I want to show that on my expression too. I feel like there's a lot of growth this year, and even though growth isn't always fun, I feel good about it. I'm glad that there was growth. There we go. The brush reminds me kind of like of Bill Watterson, who does Calvin Hobbes. It's like very like he definitely had that. Those choppy lines. All right. There we go. What's cool is that slider shell is not even even lines all the time. So when my lines aren't even, that works. Okay. Okay, here we go. How are you guys self-portraits looking? Are they? Do you feel like they're capturing the year 2020? Is anybody sad to see 2020 go? I feel like you don't want to be the one to say that, but I feel like that could be a possibility. Don't love that line. Pump up those colors a little bit. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Darken them up a little bit. Um, and what I've been really into these days is using this like chromatic aberration right here. Check this out. It's so cool. You slide it. Actually, that doesn't really work for, it has to be color. There we go. I'm still learning how to use it, but it's really fun. If I go to chromatic, whatever it's called, and just go like that, it gives this like cool like effect. And if you do displace, this is what happens. You get this kind of effect, which is really funky, almost like a Andy Warhol kind of thing, which I like just because I love different colors and I love how they mix up and match together. So let's do that. Find a good balance right there. Okay, perfect. What's cool too is if you do these other ones, you can even do lots of different effects. Like you can do half tones like that. You can do glitch, which is kind of fun. And it glitches your drawing, or you could do a wave like that. You could do signal, or you could do diverge, which is cool. If that's how you feel this year went. But I think this is good. I think this is how I like it. So this is my self-portrait for 2020. I was sort of sad because, oh, you guys are answering. Ah, cool. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sad but relieved. So happy that it's a new year. I was sort of sad because I thought 2021 would be the same. Wait, Isabella, wait, you're sort of sad because you thought 2021 would be the same as 2020. But it says, but you wrote was. Does that mean you're not sad anymore? So happy it's a new year. Yeah, I definitely feel that too. Sad but relieved. Hadassah, were there sad things that happened this year, but you're relieved because it's a new year? Or let me know. I would love to hear more about how you're feeling, and then maybe I can help too, how you can put that into your artwork. I was sort of sad because I thought 2021 would be the same. Yeah, there's like this old story about tortoises that monks usually say. And the story goes that there was a fox that came up to a tortoise and, okay, Isabella. Gotcha. And the fox came up to the tortoise, and I'm definitely not going to tell the story right. The moral of the story, though, I want to skip ahead, is that the tortoise, instead of feeling the need to go out of a shell and face everything head on and be like so outgoing and everything the entire time and like do everything with a brave face, the tortoise is thought to be wise because when there's something new or something dangerous, he's able to go back into a shell, close up his walls, put his hands in front of his eyes like that, and then come out when he's ready to, after he's calmed himself down, felt out his emotions, and then moved on. So I think that that's a really cool way, and I think I've learned a lot from having a pet tortoise too, is that Slider, for as brave and as annoying and as rambunctious as he can be, he definitely doesn't do anything if he's not feeling it. And if he's worried that it might be dangerous or something like that, he will close up his walls like that and not go and not do it until he feels like it's safe and until he feels comfortable. And he'll still take risks. He'll still explore things. He'll still, I think, enjoys life, but he definitely knows when he's not feeling 100% ready to go out into the world, and then he just shells himself up for that part. And so I think sometimes we feel like we can never do that, and that you always have to be open and ready to go and try new things. And I think sometimes it's important to listen to your feelings and give yourself time to like get ready. But hopefully you're not staying that too long. But yeah. And then there's other people like Mary Shelley, or tortoises like Mary Shelley, who she's not scared of nothing, and she probably could use for a little bit more of that fear, because she will flip herself over onto the back of her shell and climb up on things and jump off my hand and stuff, and like not actually jump but crawl off my hand. And so um, she's wild about that, wild about life like that. 2021 is a new chance for changes and goal setting. So true. Yes, that's a good point, which is actually going to lead us into the next drawing activity too. But before we do that, I wanted to show you guys with your portraits, like Frida Kahlo. Let me see. There we go. I have a few of my self-portraits that I've done over the years, and you can see how I've actually changed over the years. Here we go. This is one that I did, I think, when I was 7 or something, right? This one. And then I have that one, which is I made when I first moved out here and I started like teaching classes. And then following. And definitely a lot of changes. I kept the same style, which I think now I'm finally exploring different styles. So I think the next self-portrait might be a little bit more Picasso-esque or something like that. It might be a little bit more wild looking. So that'll be fun. But let me know if you have self-portraits that you've done over the years. That would be really cool to see, and I would love to see that. Hadassah. I'm sad to leave 2020 because I had some really important moments with my family, but I'm relieved because 2020 brought a lot of sadness to a lot of people in the world, and 2021 brings more hope. I like that. I like that you are also thinking in terms of like other people too, and where everybody else was at, and how you're excited for everybody else to be able to move on from 2020 as well. And do you think, and what's kind of cool, and what they talk about in Soul is that like what's cool about life is that you can always have new moments with people. So even though you might have had a bad moment or a good moment, and it's sad to see them go, it's important for us to appreciate them, but also let move on to the next thing, because we want to experience new moments. And I think that's part of what Soul was talking about, and why life is cool, is that there's always a chance for something new to happen. So you never really know what to expect, and the good and the bad and the ugly are all part of it. And that's kind of part of the adventure, is that if you didn't have the sad moments, would you really appreciate or even notice the good moments if it was always good all the time? But I definitely get being sad to leave 2020, because there were moments that were fun, and there are things that I think you have to say goodbye to sometimes, and that's sad to say goodbye to things and move on. But I appreciate, and I'm glad that you can share that. I think I've learned one thing. If I've learned one thing, is like to rely on community and your family, and that that being able to talk about it can help. Because then definitely when I talk about, especially to my friends, where we talk about the struggles and stuff, we could always end up finding a way to like some joke about it a little bit, because of the shared experiences that we've had together. All right. Who's ready for some karate break? Speaking of letting things go that were fun, this was such a fun school, this karate dojo. So many good memories there. So nice. It would be cool. I think I definitely didn't appreciate it back then. But yeah, those are some good times. But now I get to share it with you guys and beat you all at Sensei Says. So that's what we're going to do right now. And so I'm excited to share this with you guys now, some of my old memories. All right, ready? Hands up. We're going to go for it. I'm going to make myself nice and big. There we go. So now we can do Sensei Says. You guys want to go for it, or should we like do the levels? Let me know in the comments. I forget that there's like a 30-second delay. I'm going to start with the kicks first then. Ready? Oh, we got to stretch too. Stretch your arms. Stretch your arms. Okay, we only have like 12 minutes left, so we're going to do speed rounds for all of them, because we're going to start off. Here we go. Ready? We're going to start off strong this year, 2021. Here we go. It's a little bit harder to say. 2020 is so much easier. That's gonna. I feel like it's gonna be 2022 by the time I get writing down 2021 right. All right. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says front kick, back kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says front kick, side kick, back kick. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. All right, did I get anybody out? Isabella, you still in? You're always in. Okay. We're rolling in the blocks into this. Ready? Sensei says cross block. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says rising block. Sensei says down cross block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says parry. Sensei says rising block. Middle block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says cross block. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says rising block. Sensei says down block. Sensei says parry. Middle block. Sensei says rising block. Down block. Middle block. Parry. Sensei says middle block. All right. These are like quick rounds. All right. How are you guys doing? Okay. Oh, I got you out, Hadassah. All right, Hadassah, one last chance. Ready? Final round. We're doing the attacks too. Attacks, kicks, and blocks. Let me see if I can get you out, okay? We're going to do clean slate. Of course you're in, Isabella. Yeah. I'm just, my brain. I have no idea. No words for you. All right, ready? Sensei says straight punch. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says spear hand. Sensei says rising block. Heel palm. Sensei says heel palm. Sensei says hammer fist. Sensei says hammer fist. Back fist. Sensei says back fist. Sensei says shoot do. Ridge hand. Shoot do. Sensei says shoot do. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says ridge hand. Sensei says vertical fist. Sensei says vertical fist. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says down blocks. Parry. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says straight punch. Sensei says spear hand. Sensei says front kick. Sensei says side kick. Sensei says back kick. Sensei says hammer fist. Heel palm. Sensei says back fist. Sensei says middle block. Sensei says shoot do. Sensei says spear hand. Sensei says rising block. Sensei says back fist. Sensei says shoot do. Sensei says middle block. Spear hand. That's not even spear hand. I got myself out. Dang. All right. If you're still in, you beat me then, and I was the one saying it. So congratulations. Congrats on the new year. And last, she's the best still in. Isabella. Dang, Isabella. You're crushing it. All right. So here we go. Our last challenge for the first day, for the first morning cartooning class of 2021. Here we go. Is our 2021 drawing goals. So if you guys have art goals, that's cool. If you don't, I'm going to give you some, okay? And you don't have to do these, obviously. These are just for fun. If you need some inspiration for drawing, these didn't make them up, but I collaborated them and pushed them all together into a year. So here we have our drawing goals for 2021. So each month you can do a different drawing challenge. And these are all ones that are actual ones that people do on Instagram. Some of them don't have to be in that month, but I just picked a month because other ones did have to be in a certain month. And I will explain. So January 1st, you do your year in review, you do your top 9. People usually do this right at the end of the year. I think it makes more sense to do it in January though, because you still might be posting new stuff in December, near the end of December. So you pick your top 9 drawings, and there's an app that you can do that where you just connect your Instagram to this website, and it tells you your top apps. It tells you your top art posts that you did for that year, which is kind of cool to see which ones were the most popular. Then in February, you could do Meet the Artist, which is where you draw yourself and you fill in your whole who you are. And I'm going to show you that right here. So your Meet the Artist. Nope, that's my selfie. There we go. This was my Meet the Artist that I did when I was 24. And what's cool about the Meet the Artist is that you can do diagrams. You can do it in a lot of different ways. A lot of people like to include their likes and their dislikes for that year. You include like your outfit that you wear normally. I think I was doing a lot of freelance work, so I was super comfortable and wearing my ripped jeans and my jacket with all the pins. And I had my sketchbook, I had my watercolors, I had my laptop and my Converses, and you could just fill in with all the stuff. And my likes, I said I like Karate Kid, I like the biographies, I like Old Spice, I like teaching, The Mentalist, group projects. And then for dislikes, overthinking, dogs that think they're all that. It was so funny when I was 24. Oh my goodness. And then you could also write your I don't know. People include like their Harry Potter house in it too. It could be a lot of fun. You made a prompt list for February. Oh, cool. Isabella, what is it? You want to share? Um, anyway, that's what the Meet the Artist challenge is. You can do it. You can do it in any style you want. It could be a quick little doodle too if you want to. It doesn't have to be as intricate as I made mine. Um, and there are people that did theirs way more stylish than mine too. So for March, that's the style challenge, which is where you draw one of your characters in somebody else's style, like a TV show style. So if I was to do my since I already did the Meet the Artist, I can draw myself in like the style of different TV shows. Like what would I look like in as an Avatar, the Last Airbender character, you know? Then April, then you have your April Fool's left hand challenge. So that's where you try to draw something with your left hand. Oh, it's Arctic animals. Oh, that's cool. So is it every day of the month you have a different Arctic animal? That's pretty cool. I like that. Then May is obviously Mermay. So that one you're supposed to try to draw a mermaid every day of the month, or just a mermaid for the month of May. Then for June, can you email us these things after the class because I'll forget? Yes, of course. You guys are all getting my newsletter, right? I'm sending like a weekly newsletter that reviews and gives you guys the links to the classes. Are you guys getting that? And then I'll include it in that. For July is the sketchbook challenge. This might be the best challenge for you to advance and grow as an artist, and just become more and more your own, is to carry a little sketchbook. Moleskine sketchbooks are really nice. They're my favorite ones because they fit into your pocket, and you can even get little watercolor ones. But yeah, Moleskine sketchbook is really nice. Yes, okay, great, Hadassah. But you could also I know artists that they don't like to use Moleskine because they're too expensive, and they're too nice, and so they don't want to feel like that their sketchbook is precious, so they buy literally one from like the dollar store, and it's like a little and they use like a ballpoint pen so that they don't feel precious about it at all. But yeah, sketchbook challenge, carry around a sketchbook with you for every day that you go out, or just, I mean, if you're not going out, still every day, and try to draw something in your sketchbook every day and fill it up. You'll grow like exponentially as an artist, and I've filled in many sketchbooks in my day. Yep, you can get them at Barnes & Nobles. I think you can even order them for Christmas. For one of my buddies back east, I sent him a monogram sketchbook, Moleskine, so that it says his name on the sketchbook. And actually, one of my friends gave me a sketchbook that has a little like NF on it. I'm trying to see if I have it right here, Andy. No, I don't. Okay. I think it's behind the green screen. You can get them at Barnes & Nobles, though. Yeah, they're all over the place. But maybe, yeah, check them out because they have watercolor ones. They even have ones for music. They have ones if you want to do storyboards. They have ones for just taking notes, like that are lined. They have bullet ones. They have a lot of different versions, so you can find the ones that work for you. August is the Throwback Thursday Draw This Again challenge. So for that one's really fun, is you find an old drawing that you did when you were like a very young kid, and then you try to redraw the same drawing again. I did a couple of those, and they were really fun to draw back what I drew as a kid. But now you can show like how much you've grown as an artist, which is really nice too, just to compare the two, because then you're like, whoa, I actually did learn a few things. September is called Shiptember. This one actually means you draw a ship, like a pirate ship or something like that. Or I guess you could do a spaceship too. I think it would be kind of cool to change Shiptember to meaning that you're shipping out like a letter. So I think for September, you could either do Shiptember, or you could do it as like a mail one, and that you write a letter where you draw a picture on the letter to somebody, or more than one person. I think that would be really cool. Who doesn't like, especially right now, who wouldn't like to get a nice little letter? October is obviously Inktober. That is, you're supposed to draw an ink drawing every day for October. And like I said, I'm going to send these out in the newsletter. If anybody's not in the newsletter, make sure you send me an email and I'll get you on it. But if you forget what these challenges mean, because I'll just include this little icon right here. If you forget what they mean, just rewatch this video and skip ahead to this part, and you can listen to me explain it again. Inktober is really fun. I did it one year where I watched the Harry Potter movies and I did an ink drawing every single day for that year, and I got so much better at drawing and working in ink, and I used like a quill pen in my sketchbook. And I think I did like 2 or 3 drawings per movie. Um, so I would watch a Harry Potter movie, and it's more than a couple. I think it's like 2 a week then, because there's 7 movies, and yeah, so it's like roughly like 1.5, 2 a week. Um, and you can, and I use that as inspiration. So if you scroll back, like way back on my Instagram, you could see like a ton of Harry Potter ink drawings, and you could see each one ink drawing from. I think there's actually a couple ink drawings from each movie, which is really cool. That was really fun because it was something that I liked watching the movies too. Um, oh, I'll add you onto the list, Mo. Um, and let me write that down too. Um, so if you need inspiration for Inktober, you could totally do something like that, like watch your favorite movies series or like your book series, if you have a favorite book series. Um, and okay. Um, and right, add. And Hadassah, I forget, are you on Instagram? Because I can post this on Instagram too, and that way everybody can see it. I've wanted to do Inktober the best 3 years and forget each time. Well, Isabel, I will remind you. I will do Inktober. I'll make sure it's a challenge in October if I'm still doing morning cartooning. Um, uh, and I hope I still am. So November is Huevember. This one is a really cool one. I haven't done this one yet, and I've wanted to. But Huevember is you start at red and you go through the entire rainbow. So depending on how many days and breaks up to it, there are like calendars if you look it up where they designate each day. Okay, then Hadassah I'll include in the email. I was gonna say I'll post this on Instagram too. Um, but for Huevember, it'll be really cool to you do a drawing. I've seen my friends do this, and their feed looks so beautiful because it's all the colors in a rainbow. But you do a different drawing based on each color. So it's like red to red, orange, yellow, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and you go through the entire month and you spread out the rainbow. And so each drawing is like a different shade of that color. It's really cool. It looks really awesome. Um, and then December is a holiday card challenge. I realized this year that that's what I should have done. I wanted to do like individual drawings for everybody, and I think that might be a little crazy with the holidays. So this year coming up for December, I'm going to draw a holiday card and have it ready so that I can mail it out to people for Christmas. So it'll still be a unique card. Maybe I'll even do like a little like doodle or something on the actual card. But the card itself will have my official drawing on it too. So these are all different challenges that you can do for 2021. And since we're about out of time, last thing too, I also teach a digital drawing class, which we go through a lot of these challenges, and I show you how to use like kind of like what we do in this class, but it's a little bit, it's interactive. It's we do it via Zoom and stuff, and I teach you a lot of different like techniques on how to do drawing on a tablet, and I have like a whole curriculum. It's like a 10-week thing. And so if you're interested in that, I'll be starting up those classes soon. So we can do a private like Zoom one-on-one call, and I can teach you. It's like an hour per each class. And there's 10 classes, so it'll be like once a week. So yeah, if you want to do a digital drawing class with me, we can definitely set that up. And then I'll be posting on Instagram, and I'll put it in the newsletter too, so that you can sign up soon. So to be featured on next episode, send me your art. Guys, I know it's crazy busy and stuff, but I miss seeing all of your artwork, and I would love to see it all again. So send me your artwork, send me letters, let me know what you're thinking. I would love to see how your Frida Kahlo portraits came out, and and the challenge of the day is to draw your Meet the Artist and post it on Instagram. So remember, your Meet the Artist looks like this, somewhat like that. If you Google it, you can see a lot of different versions, and tag me in it. I would love to. It's a cool way for other artists to get to know you as well, because then it's fun to look at what other people like and what they don't like. I always like that. It was fun. No morning mail today. Remember, thumbs up and subscribe to this my channel, my video, please. I actually don't know. It's funny. YouTubers always say like it helps them out. I'm definitely not doing this for the money because I'm not making any. So, but thumbs up because I like seeing the thumbs up. That's pretty much the only reason I have right now. You could donate below. You could comment below. Oh, definitely let me know. Bye, Mo. I'll see you later. Let me know what topics you guys want to draw. And send me your drawings. Next week, we're going to be drawing a series of unfortunate events, which I believe was requested last year. It's already last year now. So we're going to draw this. This is a great book series that I loved when I was growing up. So we're going to draw some of their characters and do some fun stuff. Have a good day, everybody. I will see you later. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining. Yeah, and I'll see you next week.